Another conditional statement is the switch statement. So let's take a look first by looking at the definition. Switch statements take a single expression and runs the code of the case where the expression matches. So it takes an expression and it tries to match whatever value of the expression is to the case. So case 1, case 2, case 3, case 100, doesn't matter. You can have multiple cases. And it tries to match that particular expression to the case. And if a case matches or multiple case matches, they run the code which is corresponding to that particular case. So similar to a if statement. The break keyword is used to end the switch statement. So let's say the expression matches case number 1 and case number 2. It both matches. It's going to run both of the code. But it's not going to run both of the code if you use the break keyword. So as long as the first one matches, it's going to just run that code and end the switch statement. So that's the slight differences. Let's take a look. A good use case for a switch statement is, let's say we have a user information. So let's say I'm going to create a keyword called user. Actually, it's going to be an object. And let's say the user has roles. And we have multiple roles. So let's say we have an admin role. We could have a moderator role. We could have a guest role and so many different roles. And depending on the role of the user, we want to do something, right? So I'm going to create a switch statement in this case. So that's a good example. So I'm going to provide an expression. So I'm simply going to say user.role, and I'm simply going to say that. And then I'm going to create my block. Now I'm going to provide my first case. So let's say if this expression, which is user.role, matches admin, and if that's the case, then run this code. So whatever the code is. So let's say I'm going to say you have full access. And of course, in this case, I'm simply writing an alert message, but in the real world, you would write some kind of activity, some kind of user interface, some kind of database manipulation, some kind of code to give access to the user. And of course, we're not covering those details yet because we're building the foundations of these statements, these loops, these terminologies, these operators, every concept we are covering, and then we're going to get to the practicality, okay? So once that condition is met, that case is met, then this particular code is going to run. And then what we wish to do is break. That means end the switch statement completely. Do not read any other cases. So let's say another case could be moderator. And if that particular code is true or that condition is met, then run this code and then run break so you end that particular loop. I'm going to write one more, which is, let's say, guest. And that's going to say you have, this moderator is going to say you have partial access. And this is going to say you have limited access. All right. And the last thing we're going to do is write a keyword called default. So a default, let's say none of these conditions are met, then we're going to run this code. And we're going to say over here, you must log in, right? Like such. I'm going to simply save, now refresh, and it says you have full access because our value is admin over here. Now if I change it to, let's say, moderator, save, refresh, we see you have partial access. Now let's say if I change it to blah, 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 save, refresh, you must log in. Now one thing I want to emphasize about the break keyword, all right? So over here, I'm going to come in and remove the break keyword. All right, save. And now when I refresh, let's see what happens. It says you must log in. So the way it works is that when it's found blah, 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 it went to this particular expression. It said, okay, I need to match this particular case. All right, this doesn't match, this doesn't match, this doesn't match. So I'm going to print the default. All right, so it doesn't make any difference in this case, right? But now let me change this to admin. Save, refresh, it says you have full access because it matched admin. Now this is what happens when we do not use the break keyword. Now if I hit OK, it's going to say you have partial access. Since the break was not there, it continued to the next case, and even though this particular case did not match, it ran that particular code. You have partial access. If I hit OK, it says you have limited access. If I hit OK one more time, it says you must log in. So that is the significance of the break keyword. You must use it or else your logic may not work. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to talk to you in the next.